Thanks for joining us today. This is the first component of our international symposium that focuses on cooperative identity and branding. So I wanted to start with technology to make sure we don't leave anyone behind. We do have, as I mentioned, there is interpretation today. The information on that is in the chat. Jacob will be the contact if anybody needs direct help with that. We have set this up as a Zoom meeting, as you can tell, so you are free to send direct messages to other people who are here. You can say a hello to the whole of the group. You can drop in links if you have information you want to share with other people. And so we set it up to be as interactive as possible. We also will be doing breakout groups throughout this session. So please know that where you're comfortable and able to be able to share your audio and video, that helps to make those sessions all the better. The opportunity to also, build connections and network while you're here. We also have more programming coming up next week. We've got 3 other days of programming next Tuesday to Thursday, and folks can pop in and out of any of those sessions, and I'll share more about what's coming a little bit later. And there is a separate registration for next week's events. We keep the program updated on the website. I will drop a link to that as well in a minute here into the chat. Okay, great. So I want to say a big thank you. I first want to say a big thank you to all of the speakers and all of the people who are keen and able to participate in this and have made time in their busy schedules who want to advance the work that they're doing and advance maybe the cooperative sector as a whole. We love to see it. We know the best kept secret no more is one of our taglines for this event, because we know that anyone involved in co-ops and credit unions it knows that we're doing great work, that we're doing we're running the economy and society the way it should be run. And we also have a hard time sometimes making the connection with new members and for people to really get the cooperative difference. So we appreciate that we've been able to bring together a truly international audience for this event. I'll get to thanking and welcoming our speakers here in a minute. I also want to shout out to our co-sponsors for the event. So the Northwest Co-op Development Center out of the Pacific Northwest of the US, as well as .coop, which has staff out of the UK and the US as well. So we're really appreciative to them, and also to Co-ops and Mutuals Canada to be helping us with this event and also be providing the translation and interpretation. Lastly, I want to say a big thank you and share our gratitude that we're able to operate our center, the International Center for Co-op Management. We've been operating out of the business school at St. Mary's since 2003. This is on Mi'kma'ki territory, which is unceded land of the Mi'kmaq people. We're in Chibuktuk, also known as the Great Harbor, on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. Just to give you a sense of our overall symposium, every few years, our center will take a different topic in cooperatives and dig into it and bring people, researchers, practitioners together around it. And the last one that we did was in 2021, and we focused on cooperative governance. There is a publication, a book that is available for free download from our website coming out of that event. We'll hopefully have a journal edition coming out of this event as well. Tools and case studies and research on cooperatives, identity, branding, and marketing. So over the 4 days of the event, we've got 25 presentations or workshops, I think we're at 42 speakers now from 11 countries and 400 people registered. So thanks for being part of this truly international event. The goal here is that we bring people together, that we advance what we're doing around marketing and putting our identity forward, and that we elevate how we show up. And at the end of the day, we know that folks need tools and direction and pathways to do that work. So that's what we're trying to provide through this event. And these themes are also found on the website, unpacked a little bit more. But just to say that even though we've set up the event with lots of different sub-themes happening each day, these are the overall themes of the conference that often several of them thread throughout the different workshops. Assessing authenticity, effective branding, marketing the co-op advantage, communicating co-op identity, including internal culture, and resonating in the contemporary digital landscape. So this is a teaser for what's coming up next week, just so that you know. So we're kicking off with public policy and law and public awareness on Tuesday. And within that, there's several workshops from folks from around the world. There's several sessions. Following that, we've got alignment with cooperative culture and identity. That's the one with a little bit more internal organizational focus. We also are doing a panel on digital storytelling with a group of emerging leaders from the Filipino credit union and cooperative system. We're doing a couple of workshops focused around branding and social media. And then we'll have the Director General, Haroon, from the International Cooperative Alliance do a keynote panel on, what if we had a mark that we all used or a brand that unified all cooperatives everywhere, just like fair trade, for example. So digging into that conversation with the panel to follow. On the Wednesday, we're going to focus on sustainability reporting. What does it mean to talk about the differences that we are living out as cooperatives, and how do we measure that and tell those stories? We're going to look at credit unions and marketing on the Thursday, engaging new audiences and cooperatives. We'll do a showcase of the world map of co-ops, and then we'll finish with marketing for member loyalty in the afternoon. So that is what's coming up next week. Lots of great stuff. Feel free to pop into any or all of those sessions. They are free and open thanks to our sponsors. So now, to get down to why we're all here today, I wanted to say a big thank you to our two speakers today for putting together an engaging workshop where we'll be able to engage with the content, think deeply about what it is that we're doing in our own work, and also get a chance to make connections with each other. So thank you to those two folks who are here today. So I wanted to start by just sharing a little bit about them that you would have seen in the conference information as well. So we've got Miguel Valencia. They're a worker owner at Design Action Collective and a board member with a network of Bay Area worker co-ops. Miguel's technical expertise in WordPress development, search engine optimization, SEO, and digital marketing serves one purpose: helping liberation-focused organizations effectively communicate their vision for a world where all people have access to housing, healthcare, food, and power. Thank you. Thank you for your work, Miguel. And Raquel Victoria Navarro, who is a worker owner at Radiant Consulting, as well as communications coordinator with the U.S. Federation of Worker Cooperatives. So Raquel works with business owners and small marketing teams to advertise their niche through powerful storytelling and other creative and unconventional tactics. So thank you for both of you for being here and all of your work and wisdom. And I invite other folks to lock in the session and be ready for those breakout rooms that are coming up so you get to meet some folks. Go ahead and take it away.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Erin. Thank you all for being here. We're going to get our slides set up. Excellent. Thank you, Miguel. All right. Well, welcome everyone to your very first pre-symposium session. This is hopefully going to prime you all for a great symposium coming up. Those topics look incredible, and really hope that today's foundational, concepts that Miguel and I are going to introduce are going to set you up for the rest of the symposium. So thank you for being here. Welcome to our workshop, What Makes Your Co-op Different? Today, we're going to do some reverse engineering of your market to find your edge. And we'll get into all of that in a moment. But just to introduce myself again, my name is Raquel Navarro. I work with Radiate Consulting Bay Area as our marketing specialist and worker owner, and also with the U.S. Federation of Worker Cooperatives. Miguel, do you want to introduce yourself? Say a little hi.
Yeah, my name is Miguel Valencia. I'm based in Oakland, California, and I work at Design Action Collective. And yeah, I've been here for 6 years. I kind of stumbled into the worker co-op world, and I'm excited to be here. And now I'm excited to help worker co-ops tell our stories and get other people in the industry, in other economies excited for this structure as well.
Yes. So thank you all for trusting us today and working with us. We've got some great material. And let's get into that. We're going to talk first a little bit about what we will cover during this session and what we won't be covering during this session. So you're not wondering, when are we going to get to how to get me in the Google search results? When are we going to get to social media platforms? Again, there's a lot of brilliant sessions on this symposium. So we're taking a very foundational approach here on two main concepts that we're going to cover today. So we're going to start off with Miguel talking about who is your target audience. And that sounds very surface level, but we're going to dig deep. We're going to do that reverse engineering, and you're about to see how Miguel takes you on this journey to really find out who your specific target audience is. And we're calling that buyer personas today. The second question that we'll answer is, what is your industry niche? What is your cooperative's niche in your industry? And you might think, oh, I know that already, but trust me, we're going to dig a little deeper. We're going to do some working on this, and we're going to figure out what we're calling today your value proposition in your industry. What we're not going to cover today is some really specific things related to technology, related to social media platforms, related to ad campaigns, how to measure performance, analytics. All of that comes after these very foundational concepts of marketing that we're going to talk to from the cooperative perspective. So we'll start with buyer personas, then we'll take a break at the top of the hour. We want to give folks 5 minutes to rest the mind, take in the info. And then after 10:05 Pacific time, we'll come back and talk about value proposition. So that's our flow for today. All right, and I'll kick it to Miguel so we can get started. But before that, if you want to jump in the chat and give a little intro, let us know where in the world you're coming from and yeah, what brings you here today, what you're looking to learn, and what kind of co-op are you coming from? Consumer, worker, what are you interested in about marketing? Feel free to throw that in the chat. We're going to be reading and taking questions as well, so we'd love to hear from you all about what brought you here today. And thank you for being here. All right, Miguel, passing it to you.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, and even if I'm excited to see who shows up in the chat. Right now, we're going to talk about how do you learn what's important to your customers and to your members. If you are a worker co-op and you're selling a service or a product, one of the takeaways we want people to have is that although people go shopping for practical reasons, for example, they need a new sweater, they buy for emotional reasons. For example, this sweater makes me feel cozy, reminds me of something my grandmother gave me. And this is in part because we live in a world of stories. We make sense of our environment through stories. We make sense of what consumer co-ops or what organizations we're part of as we think about who we are in our story of our life. And so we have an exercise set up here where we dig in a little bit more to understand not just how our audience relates to our services in terms of just services, but how they relate to them in terms of the story of their life and the big narrative that they're engaging in. So we just really quick, wanted to ask if anyone, I'm sure plenty of people here have, if anyone here has engaged the idea of a persona. And if so, either drop in the chat or if even come off, if one person wants to come off mute and share your experience working with personas.
Am I able to make a statement about personas?
Yeah.
Okay, because formerly being with the Atlantic Credit Union system, our regional marketing program worked a lot with member personas and the segments and the demographics and the characteristics of those personas that actually dealt with us as members. So not just the members that dealt with us, say currently, but say the members that we're hoping to attract and grow with. So each segment having, say, a certain population in our in certain regions and areas of the credit unions specifically, and where we had concentration, and was it an aging population like a rustic roads or golden years, or was it a younger generation like a connected young budgeter, or the millennials, or the Canadian dream, or things like that. So everyone was characterized and invested in a different way. And so it really informed, from a marketing and attraction perspective, who we had, who we wanted to attract, and what their predisposition was to, say, credit unions or financial products, or how they connect to social media. Do they read the newspaper, or do they get everything online? Do they like Instagram or Facebook? Like, so all of those things. So that's my experience with personas. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much for sharing, Tammy. Yeah, personas are just one quick way to help us. The way I use personas is as a way to remind me of all the things, all the lives that people live that are not my own life. It's easy for me to remember myself and my needs, but a persona helps me, gives me a little glimpse into the world of the people that I'm working with, so that when I'm communicating with them, I can really speak to their core values. And for the next 4 to 5 minutes, we're going to jump into breakout rooms, and so that you all get a chance to get to know each other. These breakout rooms are going to be 2 minutes per person. It'll be a pair share, and I'd love for you all to talk with each other. What do you already know about your customers and your members? Specifically, 3 questions that I'm interested in is, what do you think is important to your customers and members when deciding whether to work with you? And 2, how do you know this information? I.e., where did you get that information? Was it from social media? Was it just experience? Did you read some survey results? And then, how confident are you that you got the right picture about your customers and members? And I'll be dropping, or if someone can drop these questions into the chat as well, and then we'll be in breakout rooms for 5 minutes. And I will set a timer at the halfway point so that you can switch who's talking if you haven't already.
Great, we'll open the rooms now. If anyone happens to land in a room where you're with a direct colleague, please feel free to come back to the main room and we'll reassign you.
A great place to start. Our intuitions aren't necessarily scientific or objective, but we're humans, and we know our business. Maybe we're in sales and we talk to our customers, or maybe we are recruiting members to join our co-op. And so there's a lot of knowledge that we already have, and I don't want to diminish that at all. Then, as many of you probably know, another great place are community forums. Reddit, there are communities of people who are talking about issues related to issues they have when they're seeking your service or looking for co-ops like yours. There's review sites where you can learn about competitors or what people have to say about you. And then, of course, social media. Third, I want to point out that you can use search engines. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with a search engine, and there are a couple parts of the search engine results pages that I want to point out where because search engines have information about how often something is searched or what are related searches, they'll tell you that information, and you can use that also to dig a little deeper into to understand what kinds of questions and problems people have as they're on their journey to work with you. And then finally, your competitors or perhaps collaborators, they also have ideas of who they're working with and who their audience is. And so you can look at their marketing materials and kind of reverse engineer that to identify who do they think they're working with and what's important to them. I want to highlight that for the exercise, the point of the exercise today, the point necessarily isn't to be 100% correct with our ideas or our personas that we're coming up with. It's it's a place to start. We're developing hypotheses about who the people are in the world and how they want to work with us. Okay, this was an earlier slide. So for this exercise, I want us to pretend that we are we're general contractors. We're a small general contracting team. We're a 12-person shop of trustee worker owners, and we help people build, renovate, remodel their homes. We also do some landscaping. And in our role, we want to increase our leads, the number of leads, so that we can generate more sales. And to that, we think it will help to get to know our customers a little better. So where should we start? One great place to start, go to a community forum like Yelp. Search in general, and in this example, I'm pretending I'm in the Bay Area. I'm in Oakland, California, so I'm looking up general contractors in Oakland, California. I want to see what my competitors are doing, who they are, and what people have to say about them. I find this one. They're Diamond Bridge Builders. They are well reviewed with 28 reviews. So I'm going to dig into them, and I want to look at what people have to say. While reading reviews, there are a couple questions, or there are a couple things I want to suggest that you can pull out of them. One is, does the person you're reading about, do they self-identify with any group? How do they talk about who they are and who they are in relationship to other people in the world? For example, Steve-O starts off, I'm usually a DIY person. That could be an interesting place to start to explore a possible niche for your general contractor company. DIY people who are looking for support doing their independent projects. Also, look out for listen for what are they wanting? Big picture and small picture. What's getting in the way of what they're wanting? Or who's getting in the way of what they're wanting? How does it make your client feel to not get what they want? And ideally, think about how will your client feel after getting what they want by working with you. So a couple things I'll point about Steve-O is that he wants to create something that's creative and custom, more custom than what's typical. And something that gets in his way are other contractors' lack of willingness to make it happen, to negotiate, to think creatively about the options. So he values diamond builders because they are able to meet him there in that creative space. And then we have Christopher C., another review that we're looking at. Christopher, some things I want to pull out from Christopher's review is that they have work that they want done in their house. But they also are concerned because they want to be able to access their house. So the work itself gets in the way of is part of the problem that they're trying to overcome. And it's one of the problems that Diamond Builders was able to solve for them. Also, they want these repairs, but they want it to match the existing exteriors of the house, and they're concerned that there's no guarantee that a repair will match, and this is making them feel worried. So it sounds like Diamond Builders help them feel relieved with the quality of their work, ensuring that there was a match, and also doing the repairs in a way where they didn't lose access to their house. Also, places like Reddit or other community forums, Quora, they're also a great place to see what people are talking about with each other in your industry. So here we have someone is asking, like, what are the red flags to look for when hiring a general contractor? And what this commenter shares is that the general contractor gave them a quote. They called to tell him that he was going to be late. And for him, it seemed to touch such a core value of his, this kind of responsiveness and communication, that he's even saying he'll keep using this contractor even if the work sucks, because he appreciates the communication so much. So what I'm hoping to point out is that outside of just getting the quality of service or the price, there are a lot of other values and needs that people have when working with us, that we can speak to in our marketing materials, and offer them as part of our services. Okay, so let's see, what are we on time? Great, I think we're pretty good. I'm taking some screenshots from search engines, so I'm going to highlight some things that you might want to look at. So here is an example search on, you can use DuckDuckGo or Google. All the search engines do this kind of thing. Before you actually search for something, they'll suggest a bunch of other queries. These queries, they believe, based on the data they have, are related to the search. Either someone who searches for what to look for in a general contractor, maybe they also use home contractor as a language they use when looking for somebody. But these suggested queries are a great place to get a better idea of what your audience is thinking and doing as they're trying to solve their problem. Also, you'll find these, in Google at least, you'll find these people also ask sections. It's very similar. What else comes up when people are doing these searches? So I don't know what the 7 elements of a responsible contractor are, but if I know that my audience is reading articles telling them that there are these 7 elements, then I might want to be sure that I can speak to them. Then, of course, also read some of the content in the articles that are actually in those searches. That'll help you better understand what is going through someone's mind as they're trying to solve their problem. And also, there are some tools you can use if you'd like. You can reach out to me and I can show you how to install some free tools to let you know, get some data about the global trends in a particular search, so you can know, is it a search that's popular now? How many people have searched for it in the last 6 months? A lot of this data is free, but there's some tools that make it easier to access. Okay, so then also going into niches, I wanted to talk about, you can try getting interesting with your searches, and I'd be interested to see what you find. We live in a world where we have media bubbles. As many of you probably know, we're all on our different social medias. We don't consume the same news. We don't consume the same TV or music. So really try to go deep with identifying what a niche might be. So here, house renovations, I'm looking up house renovations for Renaissance fair enthusiasts. So people who want their house to look like a Renaissance fair. And I find that there is a Reddit community where people are asking just this question. They just bought a fixer-upper. They want it to do, they're not even asking about general contractors, but they're having this problem that general contractors can help solve. I want my house to look like the medieval era. And so then this makes me curious, how many general contractors market themselves as helping people, Ren Fair enthusiasts, build their houses? And it turns out there's not a lot. There's no general contractors in there who's trying to niche that market. So if Ren Fair is something that's particularly interesting to you, all I'm hoping to communicate is that you learning who your specific clients, developing a broad set of personas about who your audiences are, you'll find opportunities to speak to them about things that really matter to them, separate from your services. Great. And good, we're good on time. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is you can learn about your audience from your competitors' websites. So we're a general contracting company. Diamond Bridge was well reviewed on Yelp, so I wanted to check out and see what are their marketing materials look like. I go under their services section and I want to check out the landscaping services. And the way that they advertise their landscaping services is your yard should be more than a patch of grass. It should be a personal retreat. And what I want to point out here is that they're not just talking about the specs of their work, the price point of their work. They're really trying to speak to the bigger dream a person has for their life, a bigger problem that they have for their life. They're busy, they're overworked, they're exhausted, and they want their home to be a personal retreat. This is how they talk about their kitchen space. Transform your kitchen into a vibrant space where meals are created and memories are made. I personally think this they can get a little bit more colorful or vibrant with painting the picture here, but they're taking I think they're taking the step in the right direction to really point out how their service meets not just a external problem like my kitchen is ugly, but an internal problem and a dream, which is I want to have beautiful memories with my family. And I'm curious, does anyone want to guess what room in the house this is referring to? Start and end your day in a space that soothes, energizes, and inspires. If you're thinking the toilet room as the soothing, energizing, and inspiring place, you are correct. Great. So we'll get into breakout rooms. We will have 20 minutes. We're a little early. And what I would like is we'll be in rooms of 4 to 6 people. And so either you can all work together if that's how your group culture turns out, or you can initially work independently. I'd love you we're dropping a link to, would someone mind dropping the link to the workshop Google Doc? The workshop Google Doc has step-by-step instructions to do kind of research like this. It includes the kinds of questions you might want to ask to dig deeper into who your audience is. So we'll have some time to do some research, and then I'd love for you to share with each other in your small breakout rooms what you learn. And encourage each other, ask each other questions. If you're hearing someone describe their ideal audience and you're getting a vague picture and you want more details, ask more details, help them really get there. Great. Does anyone have any, let me make it back. Does anyone have any questions before we jump into the rooms? Oopsies, wrong. There.
Okay, great. I'll break people up. I'm just trying to move around the note-taking apps so that people end up with real humans. Here we go, opening rooms.
From just a few people, what do you learn? What do you talk about? Or even are there other exercises or other things you do to complement this kind of information when trying to learn about your clients and your members? If you prefer, feel free to use the Zoom hand, and I'll call on you. Or if you're comfortable, just come off of mute and love to hear what you have to say. Maybe I'll start by asking Raquel, if you're here, Raquel, if you would like to share some of the things you explored and learned.
Yeah, don't be shy now, folks. Yes, I had a great discussion with 3 of our participants, that were from a range of different industries. And I was noticing that sometimes we've got a few different buyer personas that we're talking to. And I was encouraging, and so we kind of dug into, okay, well, where are these folks at? If we focus on one, member persona or buyer persona that we are trying to speak to, our target, where do we find those folks? Some ideas that came up for US-based folks was, Reddit threads, definitely. Um, and what else was coming up for US-based folks? Facebook groups for other folks that are like-minded in the industry when trying to recruit cooperative members into the co-op. And then also spoke with a participant from India who was sharing, maybe the first place for their target audience is going to be video reels and looking through different video platforms to see, what are folks looking at on there and what kind of information is already out there. So those were three great places to start. What else did folks come up with? What were other platforms relevant to you all where people are looking for your products and services? I'd love to know.
Anyone from Raquel's group like to elaborate on any of those points?
Um, Hi. So I'm Ayushi. I'm from India. And I shared the fact that we were a very large cooperative federation. So we have a lot of members that are other cooperatives and not individuals. But essentially, we're connected to millions of individual farmers through our members. And the idea is that we're supposed to sort of represent them and help connect their agricultural produce to international markets as best as possible, while also ensuring that a lot of the sort of barriers and challenges that they face if they trying to engage in exports themselves are not happening to them anymore. And so that's why we were talking about the fact that we, despite having pretty good internet penetration in India now, especially over the last 10 odd years or so, people don't use the internet the same way that I think a lot of the people in this call necessarily do. So, Reddit or Yelp is not really as much of a thing here. And even on Facebook, people tend to engage more through videos, like in the comment sections of videos, rather than in a Facebook group. And it's sort of similar with YouTube. So both of those have really good um, access for people. And you can also sort of see that in the sort of videos that you'll find. So people will, you can, if you do a quick search now on YouTube, for example, you will find hundreds and hundreds of videos that are just sort of like, how do I export? How do I, you know, grow turmeric with licensing for export to a specific destination? So that's sort of how we try to think about it. Um, and they're, like I was saying, they're not really our clients. Like our members, farmers are not our clients, but they're our primary stakeholders that we have to engage because finding international buyers for, rice or turmeric or tea or whatever is not necessarily as much of a problem. It's more about engaging our members and the farmers of our members to sort of take part in the value sharing that we're hoping to enable.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing, Ayushi. And Raquel, um, one thing we're driving towards that I want to mention before we go to a break is one thing we're driving towards is exploring this question: how do we market the cooperative advantage? And if there's one thing you take away, I'd love for you to take away that to consider marketing the cooperative advantage based off of what your audience's values and your stakeholders' values actually are. So we'll have a couple of examples right at the end of how we might do that. But yeah, we'll have a 5-minute break and then we'll jump into value propositions with Raquel. So we'll be back in Pacific time, we'll be back at 10:05, wherever you are, whatever it is, 05.
Except for
Oh,
Newfoundland, then it's 35. That's the weird one.
oh, 5 is good.
Good to know. No, thank you.
Great, everyone. You can feel free to just, stay to chat or turn off your camera if you need to and stay connected.
Is there a possibility to get
Here, and thank you for letting me overhear your shares. And I'll pass.
Yes, welcome. Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for the juicy International Apex Co-op discussion. We're learning about our different compas in different parts of the world. And I'm also coming from an Apex cooperative organization here in the US Federation of Worker Co-ops. So a lot of these different goals are resonating for sure. Thank you all for sharing. Okay, I'm gonna get our screen share up and ready because now that we've talked buyer personas slash member personas, figuring out who our specific audience is, now we're going to talk about how to bring what our value of our cooperative or organization is to those folks and really dig into what that is. So let me see, I'm gonna hit slideshow. I'm already sharing, yeah? Let me hit slideshow. And now we should see the full thing. Okay, so welcome to part 2. Hope you got a moment to rest there. We're going to develop our value proposition for your business. We've got folks from a different range of scale, right? From the Apex to the individual cooperative here in the room. So regardless of what scale you're at, we're going to be thinking, what is your organization or cooperative's core value that you bring to the table? A lot of people talk about this as a niche as well, right? What is it that you bring to your members or to your clients that isn't existing elsewhere or that you do best? So that's what we're going to get into now. And I think I saw Beatriz join the call. Yay! I'm going to give you a great example from a cooperative in Nashville, an individual co-op in Nashville that's doing great work. So we're about to jump into that bit. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so since we just talked buyer personas, we're about to get into the value proposition. But since we just talked buyer personas, I wanted to highlight an incredible example. For this workshop, we're reverse engineering. So we're looking at marketing materials of our fellow cooperators, our collaborators, our competitors, to kind of understand the behind the scenes of how they got to this excellent marketing space. So this cooperative is called Voces de Nashville. They're a worker-owned cooperative that offers Spanish language lessons and classes to folks in the Nashville, Tennessee community in the US. So something that I want to point out is that front and center on their website, they've got these beautiful testimonials. Also, Voces de Nashville just celebrated 5 years as a cooperative. So if you want to give them some love in the chat, please do that. That's a big feat. But okay, so Voces de Nashville. These are 3 testimonials that are powerful that they put front and center on their website because they're showing, not telling, the types of folks who are their buyer or client personas, right? So let's read these. Starting with Marcus, who's a bus driver. When I'm driving my bus, most of the kids speak Spanish. I used to think it's not my job to learn their language, but now I really want to. I want to know what they're saying and talk to them. I was able to ask a student, ¿Dónde vives? Or where do you live? And he pointed to his address, and that made me feel pretty good. Beautiful testimonial. Over to Robert, who's a retired physician, who says, I oversee a clinic at Mary, I don't know if I'm saying that right, that's run by medical students. A big portion of the patient population is Spanish speaking. They have translators, but it makes a big difference if you can meet the patient and meet the person you're working with halfway in their native language. Wonderful. Lastly, we have Magda, who's a librarian. And they say, I wanted to learn Spanish because my neighbors are Spanish speakers and I want to be able to communicate better. I work at the library and it is so much easier to help them if I can speak at least a little bit of their native language. So based on what we just learned about buyer personas, these are 3 buyer personas slash client personas for this cooperative. These are adults who want to learn Spanish in some kind of practical application in their community to serve and to better connect with the Spanish speakers in their diverse Nashville community. It's local, this is very specific, and the co-op is able to develop their programming and their marketing based off of these specific personas. So let's get into that. One way to understand your buyer personas that's reflected here is through successful repeat clients. Who are the folks that keep coming back to you, keep giving you work and trusting you with your products and services? Who are these folks? Looking back is a great way to understand buyer personas. And again, by including these testimonials front and center on their website, Voces de Nashville is not saying, hey, are you an adult who works a day job with community members where you'd like to speak Spanish? Please join our classes. They're not telling their audience. They are showing through these testimonials the relatability where you might see yourself in Marcus's story. You might see yourself in Robert's story, and feel connected to that, and then be motivated to take a Spanish class because you're like, hey, that's me. I work with Spanish speakers and I have Spanish speaking neighbors that I want to connect with. So hats off to Voces de Nashville for this amazing buyer personas. And this is just another example of how you can reverse engineer to figure out who your folks are. Now let's move on to the value proposition. So what is a value proposition? We've talked about it as a niche. There's many words and terms for this. Regardless of what you call it, these are the concepts that I would like y'all to know. Let me just move that out of the way. Okay. So a strong value proposition for your business, in my eye, does these three things. Okay. It distinguishes your business from your industry. We often say competitors, but in the cooperative world, we're cooperative. We work together. We collaborate. They're also collaborators, right? So other folks in your industry, there's something unique, different about you and your business that you offer best, or that you offer that's unique in the industry. It should also speak to what your specific buyer personas need. We're about to get into that, and that's why we had to talk about our client, buyer, member personas first, because this value proposition has to be valuable to them, right? We know the value of our business, but we have to communicate that through our marketing to the right people. So it honestly answers the question, why choose us? Why trust us? Why work with us as opposed to someone else, right? Why spend your time engaging with our organization as opposed to doing something else? So let's keep looking at an example from Voces de Nashville. Okay. This is also front and center on Voces de Nashville's website. And let's see if we can identify here, right? This is really part of their value proposition, and it's front and center on their website and other marketing materials. So it can speak to why to choose their Spanish classes over others in the area. Why not go on Duolingo, which is free, right? There's many other options and many ways to learn languages, but here's what they offer that is unique. So Voces de Nashville makes it easy for Nashvilleans to learn Spanish in an authentic way and connect with more people in their city. Okay? It's localized, it's practical, it's applicable with your neighbors today. So let's look at how they do that as well. This is their value proposition, but how is it that they actually accomplish this, right? We're going to look at some brilliant marketing tactics here that I've seen from them. I've been happy to, chat on the phone with some of their team as well. Thank you so much, Voces de Nashville, for doing this work and showing other cooperators some really creative tactics. So this is could be called like a guerrilla or collaborative type of marketing tactic for small businesses. This is their Together We Practice program. And essentially, they've partnered with 3 local Latino-owned, bilingual-run businesses in the Nashville area, in their neighborhood, where they've put up these flyers that say, here you can practice your Spanish. And they've already worked with the business owners and workers at these establishments to where they're prepared to receive people that want to practice their Spanish when ordering goods, getting their ice cream, doing their shopping. And it's a way for folks to be in a safe environment to know that they're able to practice their Spanish there and apply their learnings immediately. If you hit this QR code that they've left in the window of the shop, you get vocabulary that you can use when you want to order your ice cream. You get some sample phrases that you can use and practically apply at the business. So this is a way that they are not only marketing their classes for other folks in the community who are already going to these businesses, but maybe a little scared to actually use the Spanish that they want to use. They're promoting their classes and they're also bringing their students on field trips to these businesses to practically apply what they're learning in class. So this is how they bring a value to the community that is different from Duolingo, that is different from online learning platforms, that is different from a traditional community college course or something where you might just go learn the instruction and then get your homework and get out of there. So this is what they bring that's unique, and this is how they show their value proposition. This is special, right? We were just talking about forums and online forums. Here you've got a beautiful picture of Beatriz. And this is their Instagram post where they're talking about this program. And the comment section is where we're seeing the feedback, right? We've got, right, and the goal of this is not to be a viral social media post. It's to reach their buyer persona, which is the local people in the Nashville area that want to connect with their community, adults that are learning Spanish. So here we've got 81 weeks ago, someone is saying, sometimes I feel intimidated about wasting someone's time by going slow in Spanish. That's a real fear, and that's a real problem that their students are facing, right? They want to practice their skills from class, but they feel intimidated, they feel scared, and they don't want to, disrespect someone or waste their time by being slow and not having it right, right? That was 81 weeks ago. But check this out, y'all. 3 weeks ago, the folks are still engaging with this post that's pinned to the top of their page. They're still engaging with this program. There's lots of positive feedback here. And 3 weeks ago, someone said, hey, if you go to this business, Don Manuel will chat you up. So they either know Don Manuel or they've gone to that business and they've chatted it up with him, and they recommend that other people do the same and that this program is working. We can see the feedback live here in this comment section. So that's something that I wanted to showcase in terms of getting to know, right, reverse engineering by looking at their marketing materials. This is an Instagram post. We can see some buyer personas. We can see some ways that the value proposition is being shown here. And we're learning a little bit more about their clients, their students, the problems, and the needs that they have. Okay, how am I doing on time? Great. So let me know if there's any questions in the chat as well. Keep showering some love for Voces de Nashville, and let's continue. Okay, so this is a tool that I'm introducing to you all. You've probably seen something similar. Big thank you to the Democracy at Work Institute here in the United States as well, who has given workshops delivering similar information in terms of, figuring out our value proposition through a canvas like this. So we've got 6 boxes here. This is, if someone could drop the link to this tool in the chat so folks could start saving it, that would be helpful. You're going to leave with this tool, which is basically just a space to brainstorm and map and get to the end here of what your value proposition is. So on the left side, we've got the client side, right? Now that we know our buyer personas, we're looking at what are their needs? What are their problems? What are their desired benefits? And we need to match that on the right side, what our business or organization offers in terms of product or service at a basic level, dig a little deeper into the solutions that we can provide to solve their problems. And lastly, digging the deepest to the value proposition, because your competitors and your collaborators also offer the same possible services or products. They're also solving problems that people have, But the value proposition should be something unique to your business that speaks to a desired benefit that your client wants to have. This is a lot of information, but let's take the Voces de Nashville example. And Beatriz or any other compas from Voces de Nashville, please correct my assumptions, but I put this together, reverse engineering based on what I've seen about your business, to kind of fill this out as an example before we jump into actually trying this out for our co-ops. So to start off, right, the basic level needs and services. The clients, ideal clients and buyer personas of Voces de Nashville want to learn Spanish. If they didn't want to learn Spanish, or they didn't want to connect with Spanish speakers in their Nashville community, that's not who we're speaking to, right? We're speaking to folks that have this need or potential desire. And what's being offered? The services of Spanish classes in the Nashville area, in-person instruction, accountability, right? That's what's being offered at a basic level. Now let's dig a little deeper into the problems and the solutions, okay? So, right, in order to learn Spanish and connect with Spanish speakers in Nashville, someone could go take a class at the community college. They could buy a book and self-study. They could get an app and self-study. They could watch YouTube videos and figure it out. But what are the problems that they're running into with these other alternatives? There's no accountability for a lot of those types of things. I know Duolingo will keep you very accountable, but there's not a lot of accountability for some of these other ways to do language learning. Doesn't have the same help or support as live in-person instruction. And for our buyer personas, don't forget our bus driver, our librarian, and well, not our retired physician, but our bus driver and our librarian are working adults who have day jobs. So fitting a class into the schedule with the live instruction is a challenge and is a problem, right? So what are they providing that's a solution? They have the localized live instruction, the accountability and the support of working with a native Spanish speaker. And they have evening classes for working adults. And one of their team members shared with me that, enrollment has been high. Congratulations to you all for that. 80 to 100 students in each evening course, and that those are the most popular courses. So that's also telling the team something about who is coming to these courses, who their buyer personas are, and who their clients are, and what is solving their problems the most, right? The evening classes are the most popular. Great. Now let's dig a layer deeper and think about these desired benefits to help figure out the value proposition. We're kind of cheating because we're reverse engineering, but you're going to do the regular engineering in a moment. So what are the desired benefits of our clients for Voces de Nashville? Connecting with and better serving the Spanish-speaking community. As we saw, the folks in our testimonials are people who either work with in a work capacity with Spanish speakers that they want to connect with more, or Spanish speakers are their neighbors that they want to connect with more, or patients that they're volunteering with that they want to be able to serve better. So that is the desired benefit for ultimately choosing Voces de Nashville and taking these courses. So in turn, what would we say is the value proposition for this business? What they bring to the table that's different, that's unique, and the reason that we should choose Voces de Nashville to learn Spanish in the area is that you can do the learning while applying the learnings immediately with your community through field trips, through the Together We Practice program, through community events that they run. And this is their value proposition. This is something they're offering that other Spanish classes are not, right? So this is what they put on their website and in their materials as front and center, because this is why you should choose us as opposed to our competitors or collaborators. Okay, feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'm going to keep us moving into our activity so we have time for it. So this value proposition canvas, right? It's a basic way to brainstorm and go through these levels to figure out the value proposition. So you're probably already getting some ideas of what this would look like for your business. The first layer is pretty simple, and then we keep moving, right? So whether you want to do this on a computer or whether you want to do this with pen and paper, I often just print this out and bring it, to work with clients and we brainstorm together and I'm taking notes with a pen in these boxes. Whatever feels good for you, whatever works for you is great. But I believe someone dropped the link in there for the digital version. So great, thank you so much. So for the digital version, there's two brainstorm questions up at the top that ask who are my competitors' collaborators? These are the folks that are most similar to your business, not just people who offer the same services. There's a lot of big corporate companies that might offer the same services you do. That is not your competition. Your competition and your collaborators are folks who are a similar business size to you that are localized, that offer what you offer. So thinking through that and thinking through, well, why us as opposed to them? Or what do we offer that is our best niche? Or what do we offer that's different? That is the first kind of brainstorm question. Now we're going to take some time. Let's see. There we go. So now we're going to do the exercise of actually just working through this. So we're going to take 20. Do I still have 20 minutes? I think so. 20 minutes to work on this. Okay. The first 10 minutes, grab your pen and paper or open up that tab, make a copy of this tool for yourself and start to fill out some ideas. Feel free to throw any questions in the chat, but I would like it to be a little bit of a silent work time for the next 10 minutes so we can actually, focus in on this and see how far we get. So 10 minutes on this, and then the last 10 minutes, I would love to hear an example. And I might ask some follow-up questions to get to a stronger value proposition for your business or organization. So I'm going to put a timer for 10 minutes. If anyone has any trouble with accessing the tool or questions before we jump in, please throw it in the chat or come off mute. Now's your chance. No breakout rooms for this. It's just a silent working activity. Let me open the chat in case there's anything. So again, silent working time, but feel free to throw questions in the chat. All right, I'm going to start us off with 10 minutes to try to get to our value proposition. This is a first draft. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're starting to ask the right questions to get to what our value proposition is. And as Miguel mentioned, we're going to talk a snippet about the cooperative advantage. And pricing, again, is something that people also look at. But we don't want the only reason that someone comes to your business to be that you're a co-op or that you're the cheapest option, that you're the most affordable option, or that you're a cooperative. So we're really digging into your products, your services, what you offer from a business level or from an organizational level. That isn't just, we're a co-op, you should hire us because we're a co-op, right? You're going to get into that with many of the other presenters, and they're going to talk about how to market best the fact that you're a cooperative, and we'll speak to that at the end. But this is thinking through what you're offering as a business apart from your cooperative structure. All right, I'm going to mute and let us have our silent time. Please let me know if you have questions in the chat. Good luck, y'all. Last workshops like these if 10 minutes is enough time to try to get a draft going. And I know for our Apex organizations, this can be a little tough because you are the national grassroots organization, right, in your country. So setting yourself apart from the rest might be based off of what services you offer to your members that they could also get elsewhere, whether that be technical assistance or providing health services or things like that. All right, how did we do? I'm going to keep this canvas up here so we can look at it while we share. Would someone like to come off mute and share their example? Did anybody get to a first draft of a value proposition that you'd like to share? I think we'll probably only have time for one example so that we can dig into it. Who would like to share? Please tell us about your cooperative. And it's okay if you struggled with this. It was 10 minutes. You could spend more time on this on your own, and it will be even better and even stronger.
You see, there's a couple people on the line who have stayed up until the wee hours of the morning to be here. I don't know whether that shows commitment. There you go, JV, please.
Please share with us. Thank you for being here so late.
Hi, I'm from the Philippines and I'm from Youth Connect Cooperative. It's a primary cooperative that helps other cooperatives with their branding, identity, and other digital needs. I'm just not sure if I understood the assignment, but I filled out the slide and made my own. Is that the expected output?
Yes, absolutely. This is just a tool to help you brainstorm. So, we could do it verbally as well. Like, what do you see as the services that you offer? You mentioned like branding, consulting, and it sounds like your
Mm-hmm.
clients are other cooperatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Do I share the slide that I made, or should I just do it verbally?
Please, if you want to share the slide that you made, would JV have screen sharing privilege, Erin?
I sent a request.
Okay, let me take mine off.
Okay, it would be great to hear your thoughts on this. Maybe good, refreshing to hear like an international perspective, but
Beautiful.
here it
You added the
is.
branding to it. Incredible. Okay, yes, please walk us through this. Thank you for participating.
Okay, but this is not the best, but we're just gonna focus on the value proposition, right? So I wrote a youth-led cooperative network helping Philippine cooperatives and youth gig workers build authentic digital presence through creativity and technology. So the point is helping other cooperatives, right? But the people or the network or the cooperative helping them is composed of youth cooperators from the Philippines who come from different cooperative federations and sectors. So they individually represent different cooperatives from all over the archipelago. So there's a lot of different perspectives and creativity, and we also have different talents. Someone good at website development and design, animation, and comms communication strategy and things like that. And the point of the cooperative is to pull together our talent since we are a service cooperative and provide such services, whatever the need may be. So yeah, that's it. This is making me question
Incredible.
our like mission, vision statement, and like I should add this to our website. So this exercise is really helpful.
Great. I'm so glad to hear that. And exactly, this is getting exactly to the value proposition is related to a mission, especially for a lot of nonprofit organizations, which many of us may be. Is that right? What we're bringing as value to our clients is is that mission. The mission is bringing that value, right? This is beautiful. Thank you for the work that you do. So in terms of the value proposition here, right, some things are standing out to me. Because on the left of who is our competition in the industry, right? Traditional PR and marketing agencies, freelance folks, gig platforms that kind of help you do branding, that help you do digital marketing. How does Youth Connect Cooperative stand out? I'm seeing authentic digital presence through creativity and technology. Can you tell us a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more about how you all build the authenticity that you might not get from a traditional
Mm-hmm.
PR agency? Yeah.
Now that you asked that, I'm realizing that I should have written it there, that the cooperative advantage is that it's more consolidated. So what usually happens is that cooperatives get these different things from different cooperatives, or sorry, different providers, for example, like a PR or a business that's focused on website development, and then another agency focused on communication strategy, and another one focused on just messaging. And then sometimes when you get these things from different places, they get a little bit disjointed and misaligned. And the good thing about Youth Connect Cooperative is that these are all consolidated. So we talk to you. We already understand where you're coming from because we are a cooperative ourselves. The members are not just gig workers, and we are not just employees. We also have a stake and ownership in the business as well. So we know what you're talking about, whether it's coming from the credit union or the coming from the agricultural sector. So we already understand from the beginning. So yeah, the consolidation part, I think, is what's unique about us.
Okay, beautiful. Yes, we're getting deeper, right? And that might speak to a problem that you didn't mention here on the page, but you just
Hmm.
spoke to, which is that, right, if you are getting your different communications services from five different providers, it's not going to be as cohesive of a program, of a strategy. And that is a potential problem that your cooperative clients might be running into. So that speaks to the solution that you bring, which is having all of that in-house and having all of that in one space. So when they work with you, they can get a variety of related services that are going to look cohesive, that are going to make sense together, and they don't have to invoice 10 different people. They're working with one cooperative that understands their struggle. Beautiful.
And
This
then
is
I
incredible.
don't know
Mhm.
if this
Yeah.
helps, but we also say, like, this is P6, cooperation among cooperatives. So you're not just paying another business or enriching another corporation that do not have, like, I mean, it feels bad to say that, but I think you know what I mean. So we also emphasize that in our pitches, for example. Yeah, but thank you. This is
Yeah.
really helpful.
Great. I think everyone in the room knows what you mean. No shade to the businesses that are not cooperatives, but we just do things differently and we understand exactly the P6ing, putting the cooperation among co-ops in action, as Erin is telling us in the chat. So that's very important. And again, that's not, maybe your core value proposition and the only reason that folks come to you, but we're building out the value proposition with that in mind. Can you tell us a little bit more about creativity? Because I'm seeing, right, three main things in this value proposition: the authenticity, the creativity, and the technology. You mentioned the consolidation also, right? Of like, we do everything in one in-house, we work with us, and you get the full package. That's another part of the value proposition or the solution. Tell us a little bit more about the creativity piece. How do you offer something more creative than your competitors in the industry?
Okay, so Youth Connect Cooperative was actually born out of the replication project program of the International Cooperative Alliance. So we won an award in 2020 and then received an award in 2021 because of our platform, because of exactly this work. So our previous work included modernizing museums because during the pandemic, people had no way to go to the museums, so we brought the museums to them through 3D videos, 3D pictures, and put them on like microsites so that there's still heritage work happening. People do not forget, for example, these sites, especially in the Philippine setting, and then, for example, in like cultural, religious aspects during some holidays, instead of going to churches during the pandemic, we brought like it sounds bad to say, but brought the churches to the audience to, for example, live streams. And then instead of Zoom, like plain Zoom experience like this, I'm not saying that this is plain, sorry, but this was back in 2020. So we made use of like green screen, Zoom backgrounds, and what did drone, for example, as an introduction to a Zoom event, which Philippine government and Philippine institutions had to do still during the pandemic because they were required to do reports, for example. So that's the creativity side. But of course, after the pandemic, we had to rebrand and we retool because people started doing events in person again. So we had to think of other ways to provide our products and services that would still stay true to our talents and our capabilities.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing, JV. This is great work. Congratulations on the award that your team won. It sounds so well deserved. Um, I'm sold. This is a cooperative that is helping other cooperatives with really creative, outside of the box ideas, experts in technology that can use these different tools to work around problems and create solutions. So these are the things that to me are standing out for your business. Thank you for writing it here. Thank you for giving us the example and speaking to it. Let's move into our wrap up. That was a great way to end the value proposition exercise. And thank you so again so much for sharing. Please give JV some love in the chat for their organization. And if you want to drop the link so we can keep following your work, please do.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
Yes. Amazing. Okay. I'm going to reshare my screen for our wrap up. We are almost at time. So Miguel and I just have a few more things to share with you all before we say goodbye. All right, this was our example from earlier. This was our exercise. So what's next, everyone? We got a first draft of our value proposition. We worked at the beginning of this presentation on figuring out our buyer personas, the specific people that we want to market to and talk to. So now you've got the foundation of who and what. Now the question is where, right? You just start spreading the word and start using this value proposition front and center to market what is unique and special about your organization or business. And where do you do that? So that's what hopefully you're going to get a lot of great insights on in the rest of the symposium. For today's work, here's what we covered. We looked at buyer personas, how to define your target audience with specificity, doing that research that Miguel showed us, right? Digging into our competitors and collaborators to really understand who we're talking to and what they care about. Then we also talked about value proposition. So, what is the message that speaks to those buyer personas? What is a message that they care about that is unique from your business that you bring to the table? So now we hope that with that foundation, you can take the next step, which would be content strategy. Now that's deciding what channels and what tactics to use to get that value proposition out to your buyer personas and make that connection. Okay. That connection is what's going to turn your leads into contracts, what's going to turn potential interested people into members, right? So that's kind of what we did today and hopefully where y'all are headed. I'll pass it over to Miguel to close us out and talk a little bit about our individual cooperatives so we can keep in touch with you all. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Raquel, and thanks everyone for being here. Yeah, just I'm coming from Design Action Collective. We've been a worker co-op for 20 years, providing strategic marketing, design, and technology for worker cooperatives and other organizations. We have a more explicitly political angle, so if you're politically values aligned with us, we'd love to work with you. And then and there are a couple ways to be in touch. First, if you want support, someone walking you through to bounce ideas with on developing your core message, your value proposition, your understanding your audiences, reach out. We'd love to talk. And even if you want to understand, say you have your value proposition, you've developed a content strategy now, and you want to know, is it working? We'd love to help you identify whether it's working and options for you to pivot. I dropped in the chat a link to my Calendly where you can schedule time with me if you want to chat. And there's a link to download the PDF we have here, which also includes the option to sign up for a newsletter if you would like. We regularly post resources about digital security, about usability testing, and about content strategy, where you can get that. Thank you. Back to Raquel.
Yay, thank you, Miguel. Yeah, Design Action Collective creates some beautiful and amazing content design, and more. So definitely check out their cooperative. As for myself, no, we're not there yet. Skip my slide. How dare they? As for myself, I'm coming from Radiate Consulting Cooperative Bay Area, which is an LLC cooperative made of, there's about 8 members, 8 co-owners at this point. And we all offer different services, but I'm our marketing specialist. So sorry, let me just get my share. There we go. I'm a marketing specialist, so this is a little bit of a sneak peek of what I offer when I'm working with a business, a client business on a full step marketing plan. I also do, revised marketing plans because today we talked about products or services. You might offer a lot of services. My cooperative offers a lot of services, but it's great to speak to specific audiences and have at least 1 or 2 plans to do things very specifically and differently. If you're launching a new product, you might have a revised plan to launch that new product. Or if you want to reach a new audience, you might create a revised plan to meet that new audience where they are. So this, just looking at, the outline of what a complete marketing plan is that I would go through with a client. This is a few hours of brainstorming, industry research, etc. But we went over the foundational first 3 steps today, which is identifying your target market by our personas, figuring out what's your business value proposition, and using that Canvas tool to really map it out, right? So the rest of that are some of the things that Miguel mentioned, right? Which is now, how are we going to do that? There's different recommended types of marketing specifically for co-ops and small businesses. We saw an example of guerrilla and collaborative today from Voces de Nashville. Then it's identifying these channels, figuring out how you're going to get the feedback to know what's working, measuring the results, and really putting things into place. So similarly, I'll drop my email in the chat. If folks have, quick questions on anything that we presented on today or want to be in further touch, please feel free to send me an email. And I will drop my link for a Calendly as well if anyone would like to work on a complete plan with me. I also offer some video services or revised plan if you're interested in any of that. I'm based here in Oakland, California, but happy to work with folks all over the world. So I'll drop that in the chat and let's close out. Thank you all so much for being here. Our last bit is about the cherry on top and marketing the co-op advantage. Do you want to speak to this, Miguel?
Yeah. You can jump to the next slide. We're at this symposium together to figure out, we all are here because we believe in co-ops of all kinds, and we want more people to join the co-op movement. If you take one thing away about how to do that from this, what I hope you take away is that the best way to communicate the cooperative advantage is to learn who you're talking to and what already matters to them. So, for example, here in the United States, 70% of people, they work with and buy from companies who share their values, including not only political values, but who share their values. And so they're on the search for that. So, for example, if and no matter if someone's political alignment, I believe there's a way to make co-ops appealing. So if their political values is around community, we might market our co-ops as, we believe all people deserve to live in a world where we take care of each other. And that's why we're here as a cooperative doing what we're doing. If your audience is looking for a good service, maybe they're not interested in a political argument. You might say, as a 100% employee-owned company, every member of our team has a vested interest in the success of the company, and more importantly, in the success of your project. So using the employee ownership as a way to emphasize that you're really committed to doing a good job with clients. Or maybe a core value of your audience is that they're looking for reliability and commitment and ability to communicate. You might speak to them with a message saying, our culture of ownership drives a deep sense of responsibility and commitment, ensuring that we consistently deliver the highest quality results that exceed client expectations. So all this is just to say, When marketing co-ops and the cooperative advantage, step one, let's really understand who we're talking to and what's important to them and bridge that gap for them. Thank you everyone for coming. It's been a pleasure. We'd love to reach out and talk and learn about what you're all up to. And I
Thank
look
you,
forward to seeing
Miguel. We appreciate you. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for bringing it into the very practical for us today. And thank you also for giving us those examples. So, everyone sees these tools, they hear these concepts and then say, but how? And you really showed the how along the way. So I think that means a lot for us launching into this symposium. So big shout out to you and the work that you do and the wisdom that you've shared today. Thanks to everyone who made time to be here and be part of this. I'm hoping that you do what you can over the next few days or week to try to put something into action, implement it, and make the most of this. And don't forget that on Tuesday, we'll be back for more of the symposium. So Tuesday through Thursday next week. And there's a link to the program in the chat and lots of other good links there. And we appreciate everyone. We'll stay after for a couple minutes if anyone has questions. Otherwise, we hope we see you Tuesday.